You got the first one? I get Revelation 19.
Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, HaKadosh.
Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Ghost from that rule well. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Shalom and a Baba Ball. Back at it with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua. Lord, will this video is edifying, man. Alright? And through the spirit, we're going to touch on what our Lord's return is going to look like. See what I'm saying? What's his return going to look like? It's going to be a day of darkness and gloominess, man.
Right.
You see? A day of thick narc. As a matter of fact, can somebody get Amos 5 and 18, Papa Shaw? Alright?
Amos chapter 5 and verse 15. 18.
You can start at 15. That's fine.
Amos chapter 5 and 15. Hate the evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that the Lord Yahweh of hosts will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph.
Hate the evil, love the good, man. And establish judgment in the gate. And that's what we're doing through the spirit of power of Yahweh Shem Shai. He set us up to establish judgment in the gate. We're crying aloud, we're not sparing. We're showing our people their transgressions. That's a part of establishing judgment in the gate, man. Alright? And through the spirit, you know, I say this humbly, the Lord has set us up to be watchmen over the flock of Israel. That's what the gates represent, man. Now we're not elders, you see what I'm saying? We're babes. But through the spirit, we're elderly over the rest of the flock. And that's what we're doing. We're being overseers and watchmen in our own order. Every man in their own order, man. You see? Go ahead.
Verse 16. Therefore the Lord, the power of hosts, the Lord Yahweh said thus, wailing shall be in all streets, and they shall say in all the highways, alas, alas.
Meaning woe, woe. Meaning sorrow, death, and destruction. Alas means woe. Wailing shall be in the streets. Scriptures say there's going to be a time of trouble the world has not seen before. That's going to be the time of Jacob's trouble, man. It's going to look like the purge out here, man. And that's why you need to come back to Yahweh Shem Shai while the doors of repentance is still open unto you. So you don't get trodden down like the mire in the streets, man. Go ahead.
And the scripture also says that the mighty man in that day will wail bitterly.
Ooh, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly.
All right. And they shall call the husbandmen to mourning, and such as are skillful of lamentation to wailing. And in all vineyards shall be wailing, for I will pass through thee, saith the Lord Yahweh. Verse 18.
Yeah, they shall call the husbandman to wailing.
Yep.
So you gotta have men out here wailing and women. It says such are skillful of lamentation. Who are skillful of lamentation? Who are known to be in their emotions and feelings a lot of times and cry and stuff like that? Women. Now it's okay if a brother does cry, you know, if it's godly sorrow, it's a contrite spirit. You see what I'm saying? But most of the time a woman is known for being emotional and crying. Right?
Amos 5 and 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you?
That's the question. What end is it for you? You desire the day of the Lord, perfect. But what end is it for you? Because when you're asking for the Lord to come back, you're asking for destruction, man. So you better make sure that you prepare yourself. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost too. Because I'm worthy of judgment just as much as the next man. That's why scriptures say we have to give diligence to make our calling and election sure.
The day of the Lord is darkness and not light, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him.
The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. Okay? Because it's going to be a time of judgment. When the Lord comes back, he cracks the clouds with the fathership, the innumerable multitude of hosts of the heavens, the missiles. It's going to be a day of darkness and destruction, man. Yeah, come. You want me to flip it? We can flip it. Come. You got it?
Start it back at 0 though.
That's fine. Go ahead,
Amos 5 and 19. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his head on the wall and a serpent bit him.
Meaning you're not going to be able to escape the judgments. The Lord might have it to where you might leave a mob of wicked-ass 2/3 and you run into some martial law troops around the corner. You might be running from 2/3 Jakes. As soon as you hit that corner, boom, Esau over there with the martial law troops. That's what it's saying. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, man. You're not going to be able to escape the judgment of the Lord in that day. No matter what you do. You can't run nor can you hide. That's why it's best to behoove you to repent, man. Go ahead.
Verse 20. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light? Even very dark and no brightness in it?
Exactly, man. All right, now let's get the next scripture through the spirit. Yeah, go ahead. All right. going to be very darkness and no brightness in it, man. Okay?
Alright, this is Revelation chapter 1, verse 1, and it reads, the revelation of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, which the Most High gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angels unto his servant John.
So a part of this book of Revelation is the things that must shortly come to pass, man. In the Most High's time frame here in these last days. So what's a part of the things in the book of Revelation that's going to shortly come to pass? Skip down to verse 7, Mama Michelle.
Verse 7 it says, behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so among.
So that's food for thought. That should make you question. Why is the Lord's return so dreadful that it's making all the kindreds of the earth to wail and mourn? People think the Lord coming back, oh, I'm going to give you hugs and kisses. I'm going to give you lollipops and rainbows. No, it's going to be a day of death and destruction and darkness and gloominess, man. Through the Spirit. We got the next one. Go ahead.
It's on Revelation, the 19th chapter. It's Revelation, the 19th chapter, starting at verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
The white horse represents the fathership that Yahushua is coming back on. Alright? It says in righteousness he doth judge and make war, man. And when you go into the book of Deuteronomy, I believe it's the 25th chapter. If somebody can get that Bible, Sean. I think it might be on the top if there be a controversy between men. Go ahead, Bible, Sean.
Deuteronomy 25 and 1. If there be a controversy between men, and they come unto judgment, that the judges may judge them, then they shall justify the righteous and condemn the wicked.
Right. Justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. So if there's the Lord has a controversy with these nations, man. So his son is coming back to make war in righteousness and judgment. You see? So the Lord's going to justify him. Meaning when the Lord comes back, he's coming back to put you people down who are not right, man. And who don't know Yahweh Shemel Shah. Matter of fact, Papa Shah, can you get 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6?
2 Thessalonians 1 and chapter 1 and verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you.
Meaning to pay back. The Lord is gonna pay you back for us. We don't need to take matters into our own hands. The Lord's gonna get vengeance on our own behalf. That's why the scriptures say, wait until the day that I rise up to the prey. Right now we're patiently waiting on the day of the Lord. Go ahead. Because the Lord is coming back for vengeance. Alright, that's why it tells you Revelation 18. Bible shot, get that Bible shot. Revelation 18. 20. Bible shot.
It's Revelation 18, verse 20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yahweh hath avenged you on her.
The Lord is going to revenge us on Babylon. He's going to avenge us on Babylon, man. Alright? Go ahead, continue on that.
Verse 7. And to you who are troubled, rest with us when the Lord Yahweh shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Yahweh.
Yeah. So you're going to take flaming fire and vengeance on them that know not the Most High, man. What does it mean to know the Most High? 1 John 2 and 4. If anybody wants to get that, send in spirit. All right. That's what it means to know Yahweh Shemel Shah. Whoever gets it first. You see?
1 John chapter 2 and verse 4. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him.
Yeah, so if you say you know Yahweh Shemel Shah and you don't keep the commandments, you're a liar, man. That's what it means to know Yahweh Shemel Shah. So read that again, Papa Shah. Come on. Read that again.
And verse 8. In flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Yahweh, and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach.
What's that flaming fire? The laser beams from the chariots, right? So-called UFOs, and the fire from the ICBM nuclear missiles, man. That's a part of the cup of destruction of the Lord, man. All right? Let's get what you got to bring it up. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Yes,
Revelation, the 19th chapter, verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
His eyes were as a flame of fire because the Lord's eyes was red because he drank wine. But also the Lord's come back with indignation with that new body. You see? And it says on his head were many crowns because the Lord is getting ready to conquer all these different nations, man. Because he's going to put everything under his rule. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name called the word of Yahweh.
Right. He was clothed in a vesture dipped in blood, which is symbolic of the bloodshed that the Lord's come back to do, man. That's what his return is going to look like, man. Death and destruction for those who don't repent. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
The angels. The Lord, he's not coming back by himself. He's coming with an innumerable multitude of angels, man.
Verse 15. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treaded the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Yahweh.
Right. It says out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. On a spiritual sense, it's this word. You see? But on a physical sense, it's going to be the laser beams from the chariots. You can look that up with 2 Ezra, the 13th chapter. And it says that he's going to rule them with a rod of iron, meaning he's going to put you heathen nations in slavery with a rod of iron. Let's proceed to the next scripture, Bible show.
Isaiah 66, starting at verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
That's right. That's plain and simple. The Lord's coming back with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind. You see? Go ahead.
Luke chapter 12 and verse 49. I have come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it already be kindled?
Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of tribulations and turmoils prior to Yahushua coming back. That's why it says in Matthew 24, immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. Because immediately after the tribulation of those days, meaning immediately after Jacob's trouble is over, quote unquote, Yahushua is returning. All right, and then the sun's going to be darkened, the moon shall not give her light because the missiles and the chariots going to black out the sky. And it's also twofold too. The sun and the moon also represent wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So the Lord, he's going to darken the wicked of this world, their wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. See what Isaiah 65. Finish on that? Isaiah 66.
Isaiah 66 and 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord Yahweh.
And that's a future prophecy. So for all you people still eating defiled foods knowingly and willingly, all right, the Lord is going to destroy you unless you repent. It said it right there in the scripture. Let's get the next scripture, Dr. Sean.
This is 2 Ezra chapter 13, verse 1. And it says, and it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. Verse 2. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. Verse 3. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heavens, and when it turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him.
That's right, and let's talk about the Lord coming back from the spirit realm. All right, because in Isaiah 26 it says the Lord coming out of this place, meaning the Lord's coming back from the spirit realm to come judge this planet Earth. All right, and it says that he came with the thousands of heaven. Talk about the innumerable multitude of angels. And when you look into a 1611 Bible, a KJV 1611, all right, the footnote for thousands of heaven is clouds, linking up to Revelation 1 and 7. Behold, he comes with clouds, man. And those clouds represent the chariots, all right, because they take on the form of a cloud, but they also take on the form of a pillar of fire. Exodus 13 chapter. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And whatsoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth feathers when it filleth the fire.
That's the laser beams from the ships. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men, out of number from the four winds of the heavens, to subdue the man that came out of the sea.
That's the NATO and the EU and the rest of these Air Force and space troops or whatever trying to set up and fight against the Lord. Why do you think that they set up a space force back in 2020? Because they know the Lord is coming back with the so-called UFOs, man. There will be a so-called UFO invasion, man. But it's going to be the Lord, Yahweh Shai, and his innumerable multitude of angels.
Revelation 17 and 14. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called chosen and faithful.
That's right. These shall make war with the Lamb. Who is these when you read it in context? The NATO and the EU. Exactly, the beast. Revelation 17. Go ahead.
All right, verse 6. And I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it.
That's the fathership that he's coming back in. Go ahead.
Verse 7. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not.
Why? Because it's going to cover the whole sky. It's going to be so big, it's going to cover the whole sky. Ezra couldn't see the shape of it. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight.
Yeah, they're going to be afraid when they see the power of the Lord come back and the way that the chariots maneuver and everything like that. But yet they're still going to dare to fight. Durst means to dare. Right?
Verse 9. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. Verse 10. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests.
That's the laser beams of the chariots. Now skip down to 25 up the
All right, verse 25. This is the meaning of the vision. Whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea. Verse 26. The same is he whom the Most High, the highest, hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind.
That's Yahweh Shai. And the scripture going to tell you plainly. Go ahead.
Verse 27. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came a blast of wind, and fire, and storm. Verse 28. And that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation.
The laser beams, go ahead.
Verse 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. Verse 30. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth.
It's going to be an astonishment because you're not going to expect a so-called black man to crack the cloud in a so-called UFO saving the children of Israel, who happen to be the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and those who are scattered amongst the four corners. Go ahead.
Verse 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another.
Going back to the scripture the brother brought out, I'm come to send fire on earth, but what will I already be kindled? There's already going to be so many wars going on prior to Yahushua returning. But notice how I said one realm against another, because they're going to literally try to fight against the angels and the Lord. That's the spiritual realm versus the physical realm, man. And who do you think is going to win? Go ahead.
Verse 32. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, which I showed thee before, and then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending.
Shall my son be declared? Who is this speaking ultimately? The Most High. Going to show you that the Most High has a son for you Christians, man. Go ahead.
Verse 33. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall be their own land, leave the battle they have one against another. Verse 32.
Yeah, because when Yahushua comes back, it's going to be in the midst of World War III. So they're going to leave that battle. They see him crack the clouds, they're going to be like, and then everybody going to go do what they got to do and try to fight against the Lord. Like a bunch of ducks, man. Go ahead.
Verse 34. And innumerable multitudes shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them willing to come and to overcome him by fighting.
Right. Referring to the different troops that are going to come after the Lord.
Verse 35, but he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion. Verse 36, and Zion shall come and shall be Beshu to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hand.
He's going to stand on top of the Mount Zion, meaning he's going to be in that fathership while the elect is going to be gathered into. Alright? And it says, and that's New Jerusalem coming down from heaven. See what I'm saying? So Lord, whether we be a part of that number, we'll be a part of that New Jerusalem coming down to conquer you different nations with our Lord. Go ahead.
Verse 37, and this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest. Verse 38, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts and their torments, wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto fire.
So that's the point, man. The Lord's getting ready to come back with fire. The laser beams from the so-called UFOs, alright, and the ICBM nuclear missiles, man. So that's the point. Brothers, got anything else? Go ahead,
Isaiah 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So basically, he's talking to Babylon, the virgin daughter of Babylon, so-called America. He's not going to meet thee as a man. He's coming in his spiritual glory, man. He's going to take vengeance in that power, man. That's over for Babylon, man.
Exactly. All right. And actually, I want to get this real quick. We'll close out, Lord willing. Psalms 137 and verse 8. Or start at verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dashes thy little ones against the stones. So Esau, Edom, you're the daughter of Babylon, and that's the point of that right there. So that's it. So we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ba'akadah.
double honors to the elders and apostles of great Muslim who will. Peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Shalom and above all.
Ball.